Welcome to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, mum, FIFO wife, MBA, coffee lover, survivor superfan, and creator of the email experience. In Easy Email Marketing, you'll benefit from my nearly 20 years experience, where I'll be teaching you all the tips, tricks, and insider info on how to create feel-good, non-spammy experiences for your subscribers. Let's get stuck in. Welcome back to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, and today I want to introduce you to a concept that will make your email marketing software so much easier to manage, as well as giving you so much power to start to tailor experiences to your subscribers in different ways. So when you are first starting out, it's quite simple to manage your software and your database, right? Typically, you'll start with just a sign-up form. Everyone will get the same few welcome emails, and then they get your newsletter type emails. And perhaps you might even start linking in when someone books an appointment with you, or some of your basic e-commerce things like your abandoned cart. But soon, what you might find starts happening is you start to think of the different scenarios, or perhaps you are like many of my clients that are hesitant to even start with their email marketing because they think of, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? I can't really create this welcome series because I'm concerned that the wrong people will get these emails. Or maybe you start to think about adding in different things like, information about what someone purchased, what someone booked. Maybe you want to start talking to them in different ways. Or maybe just over time, you've added in more offers and you've changed things, and maybe it's gotten a bit of a mess. So soon it can blow out, and all of a sudden you don't know if your data is accurate or if people are even getting the right emails. And the idea of making updates becomes overwhelming because you have 20 different automations. You feel like you need to update, and then you're concerned you'll miss one, and it can be just completely overwhelming. This is where routing automations make all the difference. If you haven't heard of this term before, don't worry, it's something I might have made up. Maybe someone else uses it. But the idea is that a routing automation is an automation that isn't there to send emails. Yes, that's right. We can have automations in our email marketing software that aren't there for the purposes of sending emails. But instead, these make sure your subscribers are in, all the correct groups and tags, lists and segments, that any custom fields you need, like date joined, your category, your service types, your interests, are all kept up to date, and ultimately means everyone gets the right emails. And when these fields are up to date, you also have data, which is amazing for, your information and your research and making sure you're sending content that people want, or you're creating content that people want, all of that amazing stuff. A routing automation also provides a single connector between your external integrations and your email marketing software. I'll go through some examples in a moment, but essentially think about if someone booked an appointment with you, you don't need to have 10 different automations for the 10 different types of appointments that connect back to that software. Instead, you can have one routing automation that then connects it to wherever they need to go in terms of what email experiences they need. Everything is in one place, and this is the game changer. So instead of having all those automations where someone books in an appointment and then the next step is, update this field to say this, update the date, update the category, update this, and then we also need to make sure we send the reminder automations. No, instead you just have one routing automation which filters people through, updates any fields, it asks any if-else questions, and it updates those fields and then puts them in the correct sending automations. And this means if anything changes or if anything is added, you only have to go to one place to fix it or update, etc. So you might be thinking, okay, that sounds good, but I can't really see how that works. So let's go through a few example uses. So let's say someone books an appointment with you. The first thing you might want to know is, are they a new client or an existing client? So, of course, if they are brand new, you would want to speak to them in a different way than existing or people who are on a retainer, or that someone who's returning, etc. You also might want to know what service they booked. Is it a once-off session? Is it a package? Is it a recurring session? And do we want to count those sessions? All of those things. You might also have different emails you want to trigger. So maybe you have 3 different onboarding automations for 3 different service types. Your routing automation can just say, based on if it's service A, put them into this onboarding automation. If it's service B, put them into this one. You also might think, okay, do I need to remove them from promotions, etc.? So by having the right tags or groups or being in the correct lists, you can exclude them from, offers to book the thing they literally just booked. You can ask, are they already on your list or are they brand new? And if they are brand new, do they need to go through your welcome series as well? And also, where did they come from? Are you tracking your leads? Do you have any additional information you're getting from that booking that you can try to update some of those data research fields? So this one would look like simply having it triggered. Then you would update any fields or groups, etc., that you need to update. And you would ask, conditions about what service they've booked or what category they're in, and which will then point them to a separate automation which sends any emails they need. What about e-commerce? So e-commerce is a little bit different in that many of the integrations are a lot more robust. So you should get all your product categories, your product data coming through. You should automatically have fields like your purchase dates updated. For most software, MailerLite is the exception to this. It only updates a couple of fields. So you definitely would want to consider a post-purchase routing automation if you use MailerLite. It updates some extra fields like, what products they're interested in. It's based around their product category, or or when their last purchase. Is it a repeat purchase? Do we need to do a count of purchases, etc.? You might also need to identify if they opted in for emails or not. A lot of the cart software and the email marketing software, the way they work together is you check the box at checkout to say, do you want to subscribe to email updates? And the problem is sometimes if they don't tick the box, it won't even put that contact information into your email marketing software. Now, I'm not advocating that you go and add everybody to your regular updates and your promotions. I believe in that opt-in. But I also believe it's important for you to know who is a customer and who is not, regardless of whether they're subscribed or not. So in that scenario, you would want to say, okay, anytime someone's purchased, ask first, are they already on my list? If they are, you don't need to do anything. If they are not, you can ask, did they opt in for my emails or not? And you say, if they said yes, then you put them into your welcomes or your newsletters, etc. If no, you can still send them, the more transactional post-purchase style support emails that help them with that, but you're not adding them to your promotions. So I think that's a very crucial step. And then you just think about, okay, do they need to be assigned to any specific product categories or interests? Again, and also thinking about, do you need to remove them from a promotion? You might also, another scenario could be where you are using a third-party checkout for something else. So separate to your e-commerce, or something like a Thrivecart, maybe a Stripe or a Square. Maybe that's the best way for you to get data in from your customers and clients, or course students, etc. So we ask the same sort of questions. Are they new or existing? Why did they buy? And again, what onboarding emails do you need to trigger? If it's a membership, what is the date joined? Is it monthly? Is it annual? When is their renewal date? All of those things we need to think about updating so it's in the system, so you can send those, hey, your annual renewal email is coming up, or the check in 6 months down the track if they're in a membership, or if they're in a course, what they purchased, what the onboarding process is, etc. And again, asking, are they already on your list or not? And asking, where did they come from? You can have a bit of analysis there about where these sales are coming from, so you can see what sources are converting best. So they are just a few examples, but you can do this with any sort of connection to other software. So things like your learning management software, things like Mighty Networks, any things that's to do with forms. And of course, Zapier sometimes comes in the middle and it connects them all up. So this is the main application. It's through your third-party integrations, but you can also still use them for, say, if someone visits a page on your website, maybe you can ask a few questions about, are they already a customer? If yes, then we don't do anything. If no, we might want to say, okay, what page were they looking at? What are they interested in? Are they already on my list? Do we know things about them? And then add them to different browse abandonment sequences. So there are a ton of different ways you can use this concept of a routing automation. So how do we actually set this up? Obviously, so much of this is connected to just your general business flow. So my recommendation is just to map it all out on a bit of paper first. But at the core of it, we want to make sure we use specific triggers. And the best way and the easiest way to do this is via tags. So for ActiveCampaign and MailChimp, I would use tags to manage all of this process. For MailerLite, we use groups. With Klaviyo, we can use lists, or we can use some custom fields or segments to make this happen, as they don't have a tag structure. But in that scenario of a tag or a group, etc., we would create one which is dedicated just to this routing automation. And I call these trigger tags. So we would use a naming convention which identifies what it comes from. So typically it would be software name, so whatever software it connects to, like Calendly, like Thrivecart, etc., colon, and then the action. So Calendly booked appointment, or Calendly booking updated. Remember, we don't want to forget the updated, or Calendly booking cancelled. So we've got those different options, and then we set off those automations. If it comes from Zapier, I like to call it like Zap colon and then the name of the Zap. Or if it's something just a bit more internal, we can just use the words trigger colon and then what it triggers off, or send colon and what you send. So what we do is that we add that as the trigger. So if you're setting up a Zapier, or anytime you connect your software, you say, add this tag, which sets this off. Now, sometimes it can't be triggered by one of these tags. Sometimes it will be simply like an appointment is booked with Calendly, like if it's a direct integration, and that is all good if you can do that. We also need to make sure we have it set so that they can repeat the automation, so that they can go through this more than once, because of course people book things and buy things more than once, ideally. And then when we are routing people to our different automations, we add a tag which is like trigger colon and then the name of the automation. So it could be trigger new client onboarding, and that will set off the automation which is going to go ahead. And then we remove the tags. So if you have a tag which is like Zap colon and then the name of the Zap, at the end of that automation, we remove that tag or remove the subscriber from that group so that they can go through that process again. Similarly, in the automations which it triggers off, so say you are triggering a onboarding automation, you would say trigger this onboarding automation, and then that is what starts that other automation going. You've got all your emails there, and then at the end you remove that tag. So the idea is that these tags are only used while the automations are going. So that is how we do it. We have our triggers, which can be either the event with a direct integration or adding a tag. We ensure that people can go through more than once, and then we remove that tag at the end. And within the flow, we are using other tags to set off the email automations. Now, one question that does come up is, well, can I send emails within these routing automations? And yes, you can, but just to keep things simple, I prefer to only do it like if it's like one email, like it's like a quick confirmation, etc. The reason is otherwise it can really start to blow out and get to become this huge automation, and I find it much easier to manage in smaller chunks. So no, I wouldn't say you need to create a whole second automation if literally you just have 2 versions or 3 versions of a confirmation email and there's no follow-up emails. But if you've got lots of emails, I would not go through all of that. So hopefully this has got your brain ticking about the different ways you can actually use your email marketing software to organize your business, to identify your subscribers, and perhaps now it's even got you thinking about some of the content that you can be sending to your audience based around what you know about them, which is really where email marketing comes into its own. So if you do want help with all of this, there are a couple of options. Firstly, if you want to dive deeper into this, then you will love the recent updates I've made to engaging email. So I go into this into more detail with some really visual examples. And there is this full section on how you can easily manage your contacts database so that you can start sending different emails to different people without all the headaches. So learning how list segments and tags and fields work, where you can use them, what you want to identify, and how to get that information. And this is in addition to the already amazing content in there, including about how to design a great email, writing with AI, how to generate ideas and plan your strategic content calendar, how to increase opens, clicks, and conversions, getting more sales, and how you know what's working, what's not, deliverability, so much more. So you can learn more about that program all at yaelkeown.com/engage. Otherwise, I do have some openings for some one-on-one, either in a strategy call or for me to get this sort of stuff set up for you, because that's the brilliant thing. Once these things are set up, they are set up. So we can just do it once, map it out, and then you just have to know what groups do what, and you can send those emails. You can head to my website, yaelkeown.com, and check out the Work With Me page for options. I have some availability starting in a month or so. So, I would love to hear about the different ways you end up using these routing automations. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know what you want to know more about in future episodes. I'm over on Instagram at yaelkeown, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Easy Email Marketing. It's an absolute honor that you chose to listen. If you love this episode, then it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review so that others can find this podcast and make their email marketing easy too. Finally, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time, have an awesome day and make sure to keep showing up and serving in those inboxes.